Retired U.S. Army Major General Dana Pittard. He is the author of a new book, Hunting the Caliphate, America's War on ISIS. General, so nice to have you this morning. So important to get your expertise here. Help us understand what a military invasion might actually look like. We just heard Fred's report there. The troops are there right now. The military vehicles are there. But you say they still don't have enough for a full takeover, at least at this point.
Well, good morning, Laura and Christine. They have capabilities, certainly, and President Putin now has several options. The force, which ranges somewhere between 150 and 190,000 troops, surrounds Ukraine on three sides. So, again, the Russians have options. They've just taken over or declared the independence of Donetsk and Luhansk. So we should expect to see more forces coming into those two provinces, regions. Some things that the Russians could do. One is, if you look at a map, they've taken over Crimea back in 2014. They could move to connect the territory of Luhansk and Donetsk with Crimea along the shore of Lake Azov, not Lake Azov, the Sea of Azov, which could turn into a Russian lake. They could do that. They could also still have the capability to seize Kyiv if they choose to. So they still have a number of options. By doing what they just recently did in eastern Ukraine, they've tied down Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian forces really can't move to reinforce because the Russians are surrounding Ukraine by three sides.
We know, sir, that Vladimir Putin has said many times, actually, that the fall of the Soviet Union was the biggest mistake of the 20th century. And he has many times talked about Ukraine and Ukrainian sovereignty. You say Russian forces might be surprised by the tenacity of the Ukrainians here. Tell us more.
Yes. In fact, his statements are very telling in that, yes, Putin and Russia are concerned about the expansion of NATO. But what Putin fears the most is really the democratization of Ukraine. You know, that democracy in Ukraine has been slow, it's been awkward, it's been imperfect, but it is growing. And after 30 years of independence from the old Soviet Union and Russia, they've developed their own national identity. And I've seen that with Ukrainian troops and when I visited Ukraine. So he questions that sovereignty because he fears it. Because he's an autocrat, and that could also happen in Russia. These are Russian speakers. But Ukraine has its own identity, and he fears that.
Major General, we really appreciate your perspective this morning. Thank you so much for coming in and walking us through all this.
I'm sure we'll be speaking again because this story is a slow motion here, a lot happening.